Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne Berg, your host of Metro Money. And tonight we have a very special edition because this is part of our holiday survival kit. You know, $1,000 is the average amount that we'll be spending apiece on this holiday season. It sounds like a lot, and it's no good if you can't afford it, and it's terrible if it becomes a mounting debt problem. So tonight what we're going to show you is how to spend less, how to get every penny's worth of what you do spend, and most importantly, how to put a lot of joy in this holiday season. And you can join us too. Now, you can call toll-free at 1-877-MSG-METRO. You could fax us with your hints, tips, questions, and problems, 1-877-METRO-FAX, or email us at the address on your screen. We've got a lot of help for you tonight because joining me are my panel of holiday survival experts. We've got Stephanie Arwiter from smartmoney.com. We have Laura Washington from Money Magazine. We have Tim McCallan, the CEO of American Debt Management Services. And we have you, so don't you forget to call. So what I want to throw out to everybody now is, on that note, is creativity. Creative ways to spend money but not overspend on that budget or plan and get into that panic mode. I'll start because I know one of my favorite things to do is to buy from charities. I was just at the Lighthouse, for example, in Manhattan. They have a beautiful store, and I was able to buy very inexpensive things with big print, which was very important to some of the older people I know. So not only do I like it because it costs little, but it gives to charity. That's one of my ways. Tim, what do you say?
Well, I think being creative is an important part of the holidays. Unfortunately, a lot of the holidays are getting down to materialistic levels now, where it's how much do you buy for somebody. And it's supposed to be about family, it's supposed to be about good friends and spending time together. So time is the most important part of the holidays. Spending time, giving your time, because it's the most wanted commodity today that we have less and less of as we go along.
So pledging time, like watering plants or babysitting, that could be a beautiful gift.
Sure. Especially for a new couple that has a baby that doesn't get to go out too often. Babysitting for them can be a fantastic gift of time to them.
Looks like this is a man who seems to know what he's talking. I saw the picture.
Well, that's because I have a newborn, that's
right,
why.
I hear you. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, because you do talk to people that have serious credit problems.
Sure.
During this time of year, do they feel that they're going to be disappointing people by not running out and buying? Do they almost feel like they want to spend more to prove that everything is okay?
I think some consumers want to prove their love by giving more out there. A lot of consumers, actually what we've seen in our studies out there is the average consumer goes out to spend about $540 in gifts. And in actuality, they end up spending about a little bit over $900 on their gifts out there. So as Laura had said, make your list, make the names, set your budget out, and stick to it. Go out to the stores and buy that one gift for that one person. Don't get pulled aside from all the advertising out there. The 30% discounts, the sale today only, and the high-pressure salespeople out there. Stick to your guns.
Now, so we're going to start with Tim, as promised. We're going to be talking right now about a terrible word, another four-letter word, debt. We know from looking at the statistics that really and truly you can be paying your holiday debt out all the way until next holiday.
Sure.
So you want to be as careful as you can, and let's talk about some things that you can do that are very practical. Question number one, I've always had this question. What is better for me to use? My national credit cards like the Master, the Visa, the Amex, and so on, or a store card?
All depends upon the interest rate. Generally, store cards are a little bit higher, around 20 to 24% of interest. Most of the MasterCard, Visa cards that are out there tend to be a bit lower. So I'd say look at your interest rates on your credit cards and pick the one with the lowest interest rate first and spend on that if you need to use credit cards. Like Laura had said over before, using cash is probably the best thing, but not the most practical thing around the holidays to bring around big wads of cash with you. I'd recommend you use an ATM card or a debit card. Most companies accept that these days. It's more convenient than cash and safer than cash, and also more convenient than checks as well.
Now, well, in another show, we're going to talk about kids and money. My daughter thinks that money comes from the debit card machine. We have Bob from Babylon, who has a question about credit card management. Bob, go right ahead.
Yes, my question was, basically over the past year or two, I've gotten myself into some trouble with credit cards. Approximately, I own about 10 credit cards, about $50,000 in debt, and I really haven't been able to go out Christmas shopping. I'd like to clear up this debt. I just want to know, how do I go about doing that?
Well, there's really two parts of that question. I think you can hear in the tone of his voice that he's sad. He's sad at this holiday time. And my question to you first is, the number one thing he should do to clear up the debt, my question for everybody is, what can he do so that he feels good this holiday season? Clear up the debt. You got the easy one, my friend.
Number one most important thing is set a budget out and stick to it. Look at where your income is coming from. Look at where you can cut your expenses back, and see if you can add that extra money towards the payments of your credit cards. If that is something that you cannot do, what I would recommend is going to some type of counseling agency such as American Debt Management Services and seeking their help. They can generally reduce your interest rates, reduce your monthly outlay, and get you out of debt much quicker than you would be able to do on your own, and avoid bankruptcy, which is very important these days.
Okay, well, we thank you, Bob, and the answer is get a good resource, start working on it right away. It all does leave once it gets paid off and, of course, negotiated down, and give yourself, you'll feel so much better. You know, you gave me a ballpark figure, like a formula before, on when you spend about $500, because you were saying that the average person expecting to spend about $560. They don't. The average person spends $900. Your host spends maybe $1,200. We don't want to talk about it. But the thing is that you were saying that for every $500, you have a ballpark formula of how much that's really going to cost you in interest if you put on the credit card. What's the story with that?
Sure. The basic is this. You want to pay off your holiday debt as quickly as you can. Most consumers will only pay the minimum monthly payment on that. It's called the minimum monthly trap that the credit card companies ask for. On $500, average credit card companies out there are going to ask for about $20 per month on that, and that'll take you over 2 years, probably about 2 years, 7 months to pay off, and your interest in that's going to be over $150. What you should do is pay larger amounts on that, and the way to figure out if you want to pay this off is take the amount of debt that you've spent, $500, add the interest rate to that. Let's say it's 20% interest rate, which is $520, and divide out by the number of months you want to pay that off. That will give you the monthly payment on that.
So there's your pencil and paper, and you can use something on the internet. We do have a call. I think is it also Stephanie from Deer Park? Christina from Deer Park. Christina, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hi, how are you?
How are you? Go right ahead with your call.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to disagree. I didn't get the woman's name. She said that credit cards are better. Right now, I'm in a really bad situation. The guy told me to get to the point. I'm a couple of months behind. I went and bought all my Christmas presents a couple of months ago, and I lost my job. And now I can't make any of my payments, and everybody wants to throw me into collections, and I don't know what to do.
All right. Well, I think what Laura was saying, credit cards were better when you are managing your credit well, because they're protection in case you want to bring back your presents. But, yes, this is a tragedy. When you have already spent to your credit level, and then there is something happening in your life. Now, I know we're all going to say that you should have the 3 months of emergency money put away, which is what all the books and every magazine tells you, Money Magazine, smartmoney.com, but the fact is, we don't always. So, Tim, what should she do to get a little breathing room while she's getting another job?
Number one, again, I'm going to refer back to what I had originally said, is to make a budget. But unfortunately, a lot of people these days are at their limit right now with how much they're making, and they owe it out to everybody. They can barely meet their monthly minimums on their accounts.
So this is a national
dilemma.
tragedy. Yeah, this is an epidemic.
Yes.
I know that to be true, and my question to you is, because you do work with credit card companies, when somebody loses their job, or let's say a breadwinner in a home loses their job, would you recommend that they call a credit card company? Can they get any breathing room on this? Should they simply start making the smallest payments that they can? What should they do to punt for a couple of months?
Well, number one, like you had said, contact the credit card companies out there. Ask them if they can reduce your interest rates. Generally, they will consider it, especially if you've been a good payer before in the past. But they'll only go to a certain extent. And there's only so much they're going to drop it. At that point, if you still can't afford to pay the reduced monthly payments to them directly, you need to seek further help. Unfortunately, a lot of consumers out there feel that bankruptcy is their only hope. And bankruptcies are at an all-time high right now, over 1.4 million last year. So what they need to do now is to take the next step, which would be to contact a counseling agency, a nonprofit
and really sit down and work this out before it becomes really a growing cancer. One of the really difficult things about buying early, and I have found this is not the first time I've heard about this, is that many companies, and this is a tradition, a sad tradition, if they're going to excess people, fancy word for firing, do it in December. And just when you have made a big outlay for your holiday travel and season is when you may get the axe. And that really does happen. Now, many times, people want to plan so carefully. They buy today, decide to pay off in the next year, because there'll be no interest charges. And we promised to tell everybody, what is the truth about that? Is it a good idea to go to these no interest payments, buy now, pay later promotions? Yay or nay?
Okay,
You're going to say it
that
depends
question
to me
depends.
again? All right.
I'm going to say yay and nay, because some card companies, they'll actually not charge you any interest until the next year, let's say January of 2000. They'll charge you the interest starting on that date. Now, you need the question you need to ask these people or ask the store cards.
What happens if you don't pay up on time?
Well, if you don't pay on time, is it retro, number one? But some card companies will start the interest on January 1st of 2000. Some card companies will charge it retro going backwards. So you need to ask that up front to find out what's the situation there.
So you better read all the rules is what you're saying.
Read the rules, but ask the salesperson there and ask them if it doesn't accrue until year 2000 in January, then you're getting a free loan. No interest whatsoever, and it just starts then.
Okay.
So it's actually using somebody else's money for something now.
All right, that's all right. Now, and I'm Adrienne Berg. I thank you for watching. Have a wonderful, happy, joyful holiday. And please join me next time on Metro Money.
What sets some people apart gives them the confidence to succeed on their own terms. It's no secret, it's the Wall Street Journal. Now you can have that confidence delivered for 13 weeks at just $36.75, just 57 cents a day. That's a 25% savings off our regular rate, which makes now a great time to try this limited time offer. Call now, 800